Do-rag wisdom, folks, and today's Earth date is Y2K 17.06.04. And in case you're wondering what my shirt has on it today, this says, see what it says there? And that's Al Pacino playing quote-unquote Cuban gangster Tony Montana from Scarface. And before they started that movie, they had to put on, or after the movie was over, a disclaimer that this movie doesn't represent all Cubans, which I knew from advance. And when they had that movie Once Upon a Time in America, which dealt with Jewish gangsters, I never saw a disclaimer that said that this doesn't represent all Jews. And of course, when you see Italian movies, movies about the mafia and the Italian contribution, you never see a disclaimer, this doesn't represent all Italians. Or they showed State of Grace, which dealt with Irish gangsters, they never had a disclaimer that said, this doesn't represent all Irish people. See this? This is from the Daily Screws. And the bottom article, the serial offender has gone too far. That's by their media and TV critic. And the first thing out of his sewer is, he's bashed religion and the ridiculousness of too many politicians to count. But serial insulter Bill Maher could finally get scorched because of any context, any time. It's just not okay for a white man to use the N-word. He's right. I don't use the N-word. In fact, when I was a teacher, I had a major battle on my hands trying to stop students from using that stupid, stinking, filthy word. And you know who mostly used the word? Black kids. And every once in a while, a white kid would come up in the class who happened to be friends with this group of black kids would say the word, the N-word, a white kid. And nobody in the class, none of the black students said anything to this white kid. He happened to be friends with these people, and he said it. And I looked at him and said, hey. And I used to look at the black kids and said, why are you using a term that was invented by white slavers? Why do you use a word that is so ingrained? 200 years of slavery in this country for black people. 100 years of racial discrimination. And by the way, it's more than 100 years because we're still discriminating against black people. Look what we got for president here. This scum, racist, birther bastard. That's what it's all about. Now, they have a picture of this creep, Al Sharpton, who said, just because Bill Maher is liberal and our friend, you don't give him a pass. You must have one standard. It's wrong and we're calling him out on it. When the Reverend, quote-unquote, Al Sharpton went to Crown Heights in 1991, he didn't go there to calm things down. After the tragic death of Gavin Gato, he went in there to stir things up. And Yankel Rosenbaum was murdered. I'll never forgive this creep for that. This hateful creep. Who, by the way, since the birther Trumputin bastard has become president, you hardly hear from him. He should be out there protesting every goddess damn day. Now, we could criticize Bill Maher. Yeah, it's wrong. He shouldn't have used the term. How about Quentin Tarantino? Holy shit! You ever seen Jackie Brown or Pulp Fiction? Do you know how many times I heard the N-word in those two movies alone? And I go, and who wrote this? Quentin Tarantino. He's white. He's Italian. And what right does he have to have a line from Pulp Fiction where you got Samuel Jackson standing there and Quentin Tarantino playing a role himself in the movie says, what is this? Is there a sign out front of my house that says dead end storage? Is there a sign in front of my house that says dead end storage? As much as I love Tarantino as a filmmaker, I don't like that he uses that word. I don't like that he puts the word into the mouths of black folks in his movies. I'm rereading Huckleberry Finn because the first time it was forced on me, so I'm rereading it. Do you know how many times the N-word is used in that book? Everybody, all the characters, black, white. Because in this stupid country at that time, black people were considered nothing. Nothing. And then when I have to hear, standing in a classroom, young black students, junior high school, calling each other that. They even called me that. One time, toward the end of my career, I'm laying on my table during my lunch break taking a rest because you had to have one to deal with these kids sometimes. So my next class students were wandering the hall. They look in my window and I heard one kid say, "Hey, there's that N pearl laying on the table. There's that N pearl." How many times black kids in my career have called me that? It makes me laugh my ass off, folks. And Lenny Bruce did a bit. He was white, famous comedian, and he used that word. He used the N-word, and of course, a lot of people. But then he started using the K word, kike. I'm Jewish. I could use that word. Cracker. My skin is white. I could use that word. All kinds of racial slurs, and everybody started laughing, and eventually he said, "Hey, if we give words power, they are going to have power over us." But still, with all that rationalization, I will never use that word. When I was a teacher, I used to take points off for every time I heard that word from anybody, black or white. Now, he had a Republican slime ball on, and this guy, nice right-wing slime ball, very personable and very dangerous, working in the fields. So he mentioned that he's a house. He said, "No, I don't work in the fields, I'm a house." And as soon as that word came out of his mouth, I said, "Whoa, Maher, you shouldn't be saying that word." It's bad enough that he doesn't want to admit to his tribal Jewish heritage because his mother is Jewish. But hey, if he doesn't want to admit to that, that's up to him. I mean, everybody admits to what they want to admit to. I don't tell people what kind of whatever it is. But it makes me feel funny that he's ashamed of his Jewish heritage, or it seems to be, from his mother's side. Even Pal said, "Axe Bill." Axe him? Fire him? Ha! Right now, our country is under attack by enemies. A right-wing turd and his right-wing turd party. A traitor. Putin-loving, strongman, dictator, traitor. He violates the Constitution, he violates free speech, and his party, the alt-right bastards, they hate everything that's not white. Because that's what they stand for. They want to make America white again. And on our side, we need every bit of dissent we can. And I believe that the reason this piece of shit newspaper and this guy, Don Kaplan, the media guy, are going after him because, number one, he's an atheist. And people hate atheists. I'm an atheist. I'm a proud atheist. Yes, and I'm a tribal member of the Jews. But okay, I'm an atheist. Culturally identify with my people. Historically identify. But that is why they're on his case. The first thing out of the sewer, atheist. There is no God, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this world we live in. The people who claim to be Christian, who claim to be Jewish, who claim to be Muslim, and they do such creepy, stupid, asinine, and sometimes violent things. And say it. If religion was so wonderful, why is our world so effed up? Fire him. I want to fire the President of the United States for not showing his taxes, for violating the Emoluments Clause, for for putting his relatives into our lives, for trying to destroy everything the Obama administration tried to accomplish, and it should have accomplished more. And yeah, asshole Maher, he shouldn't have said the N-word. I wouldn't say it. Fire him? Then fire Tarantino. Fire Al Sharpton. Fire every single person, black and white, who uses that word on a regular basis as if it's, oh, it doesn't mean that. It just means buddy or friend. First, let's get rid of Donald birther bastard Trump and his GOP traitor fascists who are destroying our country. And then let's deal with the stupidity of comedians using words they shouldn't or whatever. And I just want to say I'm on jury duty next week, folks. I will not be broadcasting until I'm off jury duty. I hope this was in focus. I have problems with my eyes, so I try to focus it a lot. And I don't want anybody thinking that I advocate using the N-word. I do not. But I don't advocate firing Bill Maher, and I don't advocate firing him, especially if someone like Al Sharpton, who's a hypocrite himself, in the Daily News says so.